Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 10 Forward Weekly. My name is Mike Fadum, also known as Ambassador Kell, and I am your senior community manager. And sorry, I'm just laughing at the subtitles. Apparently, my name is Mike Vadam, and I am also known as Ambassador Kelly. Cool. And I'm joined by your friend and mine, executive producer of Star Trek Online, ladies and gentlemen, Jarrod Fisher.
Hello. Hello.
How
How's
you
it
doing
going?
today?
All right. How's everything on your end?
Pretty good as things are.
Yeah.
I know you and I have got a short amount of time to talk about stuff and a lot of stuff to talk
Mhm.
about, so
Yeah.
we're gonna dive into that. But first, I just want to show off some fan art. Let me pop over quickly to our window and share my screen with you so you can see this stuff too.
Mm.
All right, there we go. So first up is the official Stowe Wiki has created a intro for all of their videos that I like very much that they shared with us for this week. So love that. Looks great, guys. Good work.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, Thank you, SFC2411, who made that. And Mar Hawkman sent us this cool shot of the Voth ground battle zone. Like the framing on that. And then finally, Fax Federatica. Yep, okay. Pax Federatica sent us this shot of he's a former Foundry author, and he sent us this shot of his ship going
Nice.
that he's making a interactive like text game out of using some of his previous Foundry stories. So there you go. And yes, it is a
Mhm.
beautiful Vesta.
Nice.
People are saying boo at me in
Mhm.
the chat. I don't know why. All right, so
I don't
uh,
know, but that translation was my favorite in there.
all right. So, we are here because it's November. It is officially a year of the reign of one Jarrod Fisher over Star Trek Online, and we wanted to talk a little bit about
Yes.
the upcoming months in the next 2 or 3 months of Star Trek Online and what people can expect coming up. So I know you wanted to start with something we
Mhm.
announced today. You wanna dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit. I just thought it'd be, it's been a minute since I've done a live stream with you. It's
Yeah,
been a long minute. So
a whole a
and I thought
whole
it'd
a
be
whole
fun to
year
do a
minute.
little roadmap, just because yes, and it's been this is my favorite time of the year. I love the holidays. I love the stuff that we put out, and obviously leading up into our big anniversary launch that comes out as usual at the end of January. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on. I know this morning it was announced that we're doing the feast event. I believe for our third year in a row or
I
second. I
think
can't
so.
remember how many times we've done it now. No more than three. But anyway, as we get to squash some bugs in space and on the ground and get some fun stuff. So we got like for that event, the Maelstrom was a trifluoride torpedo.
Yeah,
You
I
can blow up
it's
some
the
bad guys.
it's
Yeah, you can blow up
definitely
some
the
bad guys with some fluoride.
I was gonna say it's the toothbrushing torpedo.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so yeah, that was pretty cool. I've seen it in action. It's neat.
Yeah, I love that
And
we're
then
doing more of those. We'll have
it's
to ask Jonathan about it later.
yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also it is the fifth and final part of our year-long event campaign for PC at least. Of course, this is going to be coming out in January on console. So, but this is the fifth part, so we can get the big reward from the event campaign. Um,
So
that'll be fun for
what
everybody.
ship
And
are you
then,
folks grabbing? Let us know
mhm.
in chat, because I know all of you have almost finished this thing
Oh
up.
yes,
I'm curious what people are picking up.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
yep.
cool. The
Sure, people
Maelstrom.
start getting those opening weekend.
Yeah. I think we're dealing with a bug we've been dealing with on here for a while, where when I share screen, we have a weird delay. So I'm going to stop sharing screen, and hopefully that'll fix that.
Ah,
But anyway,
okay.
but yeah, it's cool. The Maelstrom, we spent some time dialing it in when we first released it, and now that it's in a place that Jonathan and the community are happy with, we're gonna do more of them, and different kinds. So that's very exciting for you
hmm
Maelstrom lovers out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's.
Yes. Yes, and then also going out in a couple days. Oh, are we still delayed? But also coming out with that is a brand new ship that we're all excited about. That stay tuned for after me. It's going to be a nice
Waha.
discussion about that ship.
Yes, very
Mwaha.
exciting. um, People in
So
chat
yeah,
are
so
saying,
that's what's coming up in the immediate future. Oh,
nope, still got
still
that delay.
sorry.
Darn, no, it's okay.
Ah, oh, go ahead.
uh,
Go ahead, Mike.
yeah, thanks. I gotta figure out what the hell is causing that. I will reach out to some friends who use this software more regularly. I was gonna say people in chat are saying they're getting the Excelsior 2, they're getting the Freedom class, getting a Stargazer. So that is sweet.
hmm
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So after the feast wraps up, then
hmm
things start to get a little bit chillier. What do we got coming down the pipe then?
Yeah. So, well, and obviously, we have our big Black Friday sale, which is, separate from the cool stuff that we just announced in a couple days,
Yes.
which always is a good time to pick up some stuff, and we got some good stuff. But then immediately after that, we've got, of course, our winter event, which we've been doing for years and years, which I always love. I especially love getting my skates and skating around in the little frozen pond in the middle and doing flips. But yeah, we got some cool ships going out with that. One very from fan favorite group that I think everyone's gonna be excited about that we won't be teasing today, but
Nope.
probably later. That was the tease. It's a good, but all of our ships are cool, but this one is cooler because it's winter.
It's
Get it?
extremely cool.
Yes. We got some, also some other stuff going out with the event as we usually do. Um, did we have an image for one of those?
We did have an image. We have an image for a
Oh
couple of
yes,
things.
yes, yes.
Let's put it
That's
right over
fine.
our faces. Oh man.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm very excited for all of these, but I love that we made.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Augie in chat says we should do an ugly sweaters contest. That's actually a good idea. We should think about that next year. We'd have to
Yeah,
do it in
yeah.
like June to have it cold of
Mm-hmm.
winter. And then of course, we'll be doing another round of sales over the break after during the winter
mm-hmm.
event as we head into January. So look for more exciting things there. And then it'll be starting to
Mm-hmm.
get time for the next big STO update. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's our big anniversary launch, which we always have a lot of fun doing. It's our we put a lot of effort into our anniversary launches. Right now, we're just past middle of the development for it. So, and yeah, it'll be similar to our previous ones. There's going to be a nice big episode. And a TFO continues the story of what we've been telling in our last couple of major releases. So no spoilers on that, but we're very excited to put it out. Obviously, 'cause we
The
love our
TFO
storytelling
is
over here.
really interesting because
Yes,
it's different than it's not like well actually no gameplay wise and story wise it's different from what we usually do. So I'm very
yes,
excited for that.
yes, yeah. I am excited about that. I think it'll be a real surprise when the TFO especially goes out. So
Yeah,
teasing.
yeah, big
Um,
surprise.
yes. So and we have another, which I will say again, an awesome ship that's going out with the anniversary event reward, which
Oh,
I
I
can't
and
wait till
okay,
that goes
so
out. That's gonna be
now I
cool.
have seen the anniversary ship. I saw it.
hmm
It came out in an email the other day, and I had to go and lie down for a while. It is
Yeah,
one of the prettiest ships we've ever made.
I
I just
commented. I commented, and I usually don't comment.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes artists send out pictures for their emails and they get crickets back. And that one, Mo got like 6 of us being like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But one thing I did want to announce, without a tease and saying this coming out, so and it's because it already kind of leaked a little bit, but I wanted to confirm
Oh yeah.
that with our anniversary launch, we'll have a new feature. The Elite TFO, Elite Random TFO feature will be complete and done and ready for people to use with the anniversary event. So it'll function just like the standard one we have right now. It picks a random, but in this one it's for elite TFOs only. And you might see some new elite TFO versions of current TFOs out right now,
We
but
remembered all the
can't
TFOs
pro.
we forgot.
Yes, yes. I'm not gonna say all of them.
That's true. That's true. Don't want to promise
That's
that.
just fine. Yeah, you said that, not me. No, yeah, so we're really excited about that. I think it's something that we've been thinking about for a while, and it's just, we want to really give out something for, our players that have all this really, really cool stuff and encourage you to try out some of our hardest content in the game, as elite TFOs are pretty tough. Well, of course, I'm a decent player, but I'm not an elite player.
we
So,
had a debate the other day because so all of our QA playtesters, because they play the game all the time and they are in the community, are really good at the game, and all of our leads, when they playtest, play sort of like me, like a normal person playing the game, and so like the designers of TFOs will get feedback from QA of like, I breezed through this, it took me 2 seconds, and then get feedback from the leads of like, this was impossible, I could not accomplish it, how dare you do this. So it's funny. Uh, I am
yeah.
I'm interested to
So,
see
go
how
ahead.
random elites go for people. I can't remember.
hmm
Is Corfez in
Yeah,
random
I think
elite?
it'd be fun. Should be, I think.
Ooh.
I think. Yeah, I'm not. I don't have them all memorized.
Yeah.
But what's also good about this is that some people, because elite TFOs, not a lot of obviously the majority of our players do the regular and advanced TFOs, and this kind of it may be hard to like pop an elite queue, for one of the TFOs. But in this one, I hope it encourages people to just try it out. Click the button, try an elite. Maybe if you haven't, or you've been afraid to because you think you just get stomped, just give it a try.
Yeah. You will just get stomped, but you'll have fun doing it with Q that pops quickly.
But you'll learn.
Yeah.
You get better, and then it'll be fun.
Yeah. Augie, Augmented Dictator Games, had just came back to the game in time for this to be dropping. So he says, "Knock me down, and I will arise stronger than ever." Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and somebody, Mar Hawkman was saying that elite random TFOs will be extra challenging since people who have never done the mission will dramatically increase the challenge. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll definitely have more details about the feature as we get closer to launch, but
Yeah, we'll
it
have
is
a
going
nice
out.
long blog for you. But some of you accidentally beta tested that feature a while back, so we're glad we could actually officially announce it and roll it out to y'all now. So we've got some
Yes.
time here. We've got about 15 minutes left until Jarrod has to go. Um, I'm going to open the floor for questions. But while I open the floor for questions, I want to remind
Mm.
everyone of the ground rules. We don't talk about upcoming content we haven't announced. We questions that are phrased blank when will be mocked mercilessly. And there was something else. Just be nice. We're people. Don't ask angry questions. I don't have
Mhm.
to, spend time on the stream banning you, and I don't want to do that. All right. So, while we're getting questions in, uh, sorry, wait, we got our first question. I know I can answer this one. Duncan Idaho wants to know if there's ever a
Sweet.
chance that we'll be able to put top hats on our baby tardigrades.
Top hats on baby tardigrades. That
Yes.
sounds fun. I want to do that.
I think the tech actually exists. I think we just had a debate internally on whether we should actually do it. My first question for you would be,
It's
how's
something.
the first year been? It's been a year with you in the captain's chair. What have you learned? What's been the
Yeah.
best parts?
Yeah, well, before I was officially EP, I was doing a lot of this stuff, like scheduling, all the launches, working with the team on all the new content, and so, in this role, it's more like having a, more of an overview. Um, it's kind of hard to explain. It's just more instead of doing a lot of hands-on tasks like I was doing before, it's sort of like more planning and more thinking about like the stuff we can do and when we could launch stuff, some coming up with some cool ideas on what to launch and just helping manage that process. So, I mean, I've learned a good amount more about what is more successful and what may not be, and also being more flexible for putting new stuff out. So, sort of like but my previous position, I had just so many tasks that that I was taking care of, and being able to kind of like offset those to like my replacement. I was able to entertain more ideas of doing things that we've been talking about for years. One thing, for example, was updating the crafting promo because the crafting promo has been around for years, and so we talked about we should try to improve it, make it a little better, and it was just yes, let's just go for it, let's just do it. What do we need to do, and um, we brainstormed and came up with some good ideas of making some updates for that, having those new consoles be made with the new resources and changing the price points of everything and just making it improving it the best way with it, that we can at the time. But things like that, having
Yeah.
I have more headspace to think of stuff like that.
Now, I just want to quickly clarify when you said my replacement, you meant your replacement for your previous job, not
Previous
leaving this
position,
job.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yes,
just checking.
yes. Well,
So I guess
somebody had to take over when I moved up, right?
yeah. You can't do
Yeah.
three jobs at once. Who would do three
No,
jobs at
I
once?
could, I could do two, but not three.
Anyway, uh,
Oh yeah.
uh,
It's
uh,
it's one job split three ways. I mean, for you, right?
I have to both ask this question and mock this question.
Oh.
Random Cylon, give me get good at grammar, noob. But he says, "Moopsie combat pet when."
Yes, we are fans of Moopsie. We might do something. I don't know.
There's
Tease.
definitely been discussions.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. Um, Nightcar 1981. Yes, this is a Board Cube PC. It's made by the wonderful people at. Oh God, I forgot the company name. Hold on. But if you just Google Board
Uh-oh.
Cube PC, you'll find them. What would you say is the let's see, at Cherry Trees, the computer company? What would you say overall is the biggest
Hmm.
lesson you've learned in the EP chair?
Biggest lesson. Jeez. Hmm. Hmm. Try not to overpromise.
Hmm. That's a good one.
I don't know. I'm thinking about that. Yeah, yeah. Hold some cards. Then you get surprised later. Hey, we can do this now. This is being more
Yeah,
strategic in planning and ideas. Yeah.
I like that. All right. Marhawkman, you missed the fan art. Sorry, bro, but your stuff looked cool. David Boy 83 wants to know which Star Trek actors would you love to get in game in 2024?
Well, I have always wanted Patrick Stewart.
Yep.
That's my number one wish. I would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the main one. I mean, we've had a lot. We've had so many. What are we at? Like 40?
More than 40.
40
We were
something
at 40 a
slows?
couple years
40?
ago. We're probably
Yeah.
close to 50
Let's
now.
say 40 something. But yeah, I would love to get Patrick Stewart. Do something. I don't know. Somehow have him do Locutus and Picard. I don't know. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah,
I've
that
been
would be
talking
cool.
about it for years.
That
But
would be dope as hell. Um, Treykev 1701, I remember you and I talked about this. Have any decisions been reached on making single character items purchased in bundles or through the store about making them able to be account unlocks, like the Tommy gun in the Picard bundle or the
oh,
Discovery holobuffs?
um, yeah, I know you mentioned that to me, and
Yeah,
thank you for reminding me. I'd have to look into that. Is I think it would be possible in a lot of cases. It depends on the reward type. But I definitely, yeah. Now that you've reminded me of that, I'll take a look into. I'll take a look at that.
Yeah. Gadget Junior says they're only talking to people on Twitch. No questions here are going to be asked. Jokes on you. I'm reading your chat too. Ah ha ha ha. Paul E over on YouTube wants to know. Any chance of a future vanity slot for weapons? I know this is a huge technical issue that we've
Hmm.
tried to deal with in the past.
Yeah, those are tricky. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously there's a lot of stuff that we really want to do, but we don't always have the right resources at the right time for something that big. And I would definitely other stuff that we're working on. I would love to do that. That's definitely could be on our list of things to try to do.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Okay, I'm gonna go on another me question, which is so you started on STO in QA and rose up the ranks through the years to behead Andre and take his power for your own. Uh,
It's
um,
exactly how it happened. We
what
do
do you
it the
think?
Klingon way. We do it the Klingon way here.
Yeah, exactly. Just whoop and it's done. How? um, what do you think is something that you learned, when you started, like in the QA fields, that has been helpful up here?
um, well, I mean, more, I don't know so much about. Well, I mean, when I was a QA, so I was a QA tester, and I went into QA lead. I had a lot of management experience prior to becoming going into the gaming industry, so it was kind of a natural step to move up into that lead position. And I was just making a lot of documentation to try to help with the QA process, which really helped lead into being a producer, because a producer is making paperwork, following up with people, making sure they're doing their jobs, and all that. And so it was just kind of a natural path upwards. But I think in general, um, in any job, I think what's important is to just be persistent in what you want, and if you want to climb up a ladder, but luckily, when I started out, I had a tall ladder I could climb. Not all jobs have as much room to move upward, so it really depends on where you work. But all along the way, I had to do internal interviews and prove that I can be a lead, I can be a producer, I can be executive producer, and it wasn't always a yes every time I did the interview, and it's really easy to get dejected. But I didn't. I just kept persisting, and I got all the positions leading up to where I am now. So that's kind of advice that I would give to people in any job, where it's just like be persistent. Take feedback, and and that's something I learned along the lines is like instead of being angry about not getting it, take the feedback and then try to prove to them that you can do it.
That's really
But that's
cool.
something I learned along the way here.
Let's see. What else we got? Gadget Junior wants to know. I think this is more of a Thomas question, honestly. Yeah, actually, Gadget. I'm gonna wait and ask your question when Thomas is on here later, because that's more of something he can do. Let's see. Ryukin Zero D wants to know if there's any chance of getting the KDF K-pop uniforms from the Strange New World musical episode.
Well, we love to get all the uniforms in the game eventually,
Yeah.
but that would be fun.
Let's see. Da da da. Um, can't. Let's see. So some of the stuff you guys are asking are like systems design questions and stuff like that. And well, actually, let me ask that. So
Hmm.
you know, a fan will ask an idea, say to Jonathan about, like, say this one
Hmm.
in chat, any chance for more kinetic weapons, and then Jonathan will go and do like a feasibility study on it. And then what is your role in terms of, like, I know the designers get sort of a lot of leeway here and there. What does the
Hmm.
executive producer do, besides just saying yes or no?
Well, really, I mean, I don't say yes or no to every single thing that goes into the game because that would just be too much. There's
It
just
take
like a
too
lot
long.
of stuff going in the
Yeah,
game. That's why we have leads, team leads and other producers. We all
yeah,
kind of share in that. For me, it's more like I come at it from a big scope interpretation of something that is playable and exciting that that will bring players into the game, and then want to also look at the stuff that we make, like our ships and our event rewards, um, to buy because they make something that's very appealing, that our players really really want. Um, and so when it comes to stuff like that, I kind of leave it to the design team to decide, because they interact with their players, and they interact with they know the game. They know the game better than I do, and what the balance is of what types of rewards and weapons. For me, it's just about like they have an expectation of the quality level in terms of like what is an event reward versus like an episode reward, and as long as that quality is hit, which we kind of determine as we look at it. I would say. But yeah, I don't like. I'm just trying to say I don't micromanage every little thing that goes out, but we all kind of know the expectation of the quality level depending on what type of reward we're needing.
KDS18 wants to know if there's any chance of a musical episode for STO. I definitely didn't ask this question because I want to know the answer. That would be crazy.
I don't know. We got maybe Al wants to do that. You got to talk to
Yeah,
him about that.
yeah,
You can get some
yeah.
people singing in the game.
We already made a Klingon rock song. We can do a whole musical. It'll be great.
Yes, you can do that.
Uh,
I'm sure people would love to write
uh,
music.
yeah. Let's see. A lot of love for your IT crowd shirt coming in, by the way.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Very good. It's one of my favorites.
Let's see. I had another one that I thought was good to ask. Where was it? KelMG96. I only openly mock people's grammar when they phrase a question blank when, because it annoys me. Let's see. There was a good one, and I can't find it now.
No.
So Akiligon asks an interesting question, and I'm gonna phrase it a little differently than you did, Akiligon. But what's your philosophy for assigning team resources? How do you decide what gets priority between, like, you know, fixing an old bug or making something new, or vice versa, yada yada, new items versus new characters, that kind of thing.
Well, I think some of the core features. Obviously our season updates. We have our episode, we have our TFO, and then in between, we have our events that have a unique reward. And it's sort of like the priority is engagement. We want to have new content for people to play, and we want to have like you know events that have a compiled content. Multiple TFOs or whatever we decide what the theme is for that month's like event. And we want to have like really good rewards that players will want. And so we kind of prioritize, something to play and something really enticing to get. As far as making brand new stuff, especially with ships, we are always looking at the TV shows, the movies for reference, and prioritizing the stuff that looks the coolest, stuff that people would really want. For bug fixing, that's actually the lead producer works with the team to actually. Oh, I'm hearing backlash for this.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm hearing you back. I think somebody just joined the room for the next one.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, Dave. Gonna mute you.
sorry. Um, Yeah, so we do look at a backlog of old issues, every week, and we try to fix some of those every now and then. So that is a process. We don't ignore all the old stuff, but the priority is the new stuff and critical issues that come up that really need to be fixed.
All right. Well, folks, we are at the end of our time with Jarrod. He has to get running, and I have to get set up for the next thing, as you just heard. Special guest Dave Blass joined in and
Yes.
everything. So we're very excited about that. But Jarrod, thank you so much for joining us and chatting with us. And let's do this
All
more
right.
often. And that's my fault that we haven't, but let's do this
Yes.
more
All
often.
right. Well, thank. All right. Well, thank you.
All right.
Thank
Talk
you,
to you
everybody.
soon. Bye, everybody.
All
Be
right.
right back.
Bye.
And we are back. Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing today? I am joined by some wonderful, wonderful guests. First of all, from the STO team, you know them from many, many ship streams, and you love them unconditionally. And would never say anything mean to them. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jonathan Herlosh and Thomas Maroney. Yay!
Hey.
Round of applause. And just in time, Luna. Perfect timing.
Crimes.
Of course, joining us as well today is the art director for Star Trek Picard, Mr. Dave Blass. Hello. I liked your audience
we'll
noise.
just production designer, because
production designer?
a little different
Oops.
in the TV world. Yeah.
That's my life right now. I just took a pay cut right there, but that's okay.
Oh, no.
It's all about the love.
Oh, I messed it up. I'm sorry. I was gonna ask, and then I was like, no, I know it. And there we go.
Liz, I'm coming for your job.
And there we go. It's fixed. My minimum time in the film world is showing. So welcome, Dave. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Dave is, for some of you may know, is one of the instrumental pieces behind Star Trek Online ships becoming canonized in Star Trek Picard, and we will forever be grateful for you, for that. Thomas wakes up every morning and goes, "Thank you, God, for Dave Blass."
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much how it works.
Well, I thank you guys for all your amazing work and the creativity and everything that was created prior to us coming on board and everything. So it was such a wonderful thing to sit there and be introduced to a world of creatives that have been doing such beautiful work and that the fans love, and just be like, hey, we should make something happen here. So I'm just the catalyst for something that should have happened long ago.
I know that we agree with you. All right. Well, Dave, we brought you on here today because we have a special surprise for you, and also
I want this. I need to know the surprise. It's like this is like it's been like weeks of like going, what's the surprise? I'm like, no, tell me the surprise.
Yeah, apparently Thomas spoiled it for Dave, and Dave doesn't remember, so that's even better. So I will pop up a share screen now and reveal it to you, and then we'll reveal it to the fans immediately as well. So, are you ready? Drum roll, please. What is happening, Medio? Why don't you want me to share this stab? Okay, there we go. Share it before it's too late. There she is!
Oh my
Ladies
goodness!
and gentlemen, the Shrike!
The Shrike!
I absolutely love this ship. It is, from the moment it first appeared on screen, I was just like, I mean, I was in the midst of pooping my pants, but it just absolutely gorgeous. Can you tell us a little bit about what went into her design, Dave? I know you guys were trying to come up with something new that hadn't been seen before for a villain ship.
Yeah, I mean, it was for me. Really, it was looking at the TNG Romulan bird of prey and looking at that, and it's such. I mean, like the Klingon bird of prey, obviously badass ship, but the Romulan one, I looked at him and like. That's just such a really unique design that has that essence of Star Trek that I'm like, we gotta capture something in between those two things. And Terry was like, I want a Predator ship. It's gonna be a badass. I'm like, okay, but then you start going and you realize that from Star Trek 3, where we first meet the Klingon bird of prey, to now, there's been so many ships done, and you get like. It's amazing. You're like, oh, let's do this. Oh, that was done in this, and then you start going down the rabbit hole of what's been done and what's not been done, and you're like, well, I want to do something new, but new is really hard to do because everyone is doing something. Not only in cinema, but also in video games. There's all the different amazing video games, and the designers are insane. But we wanted to create something that was a Predator that had something that, again, when you saw it, you're like instantly like, damn, that's that's badass. So again, the Klingon bird of prey and the Romulan bird of prey were our kind of our focus, and then we basically everyone on the team took a pass at it, from John Eves to Doug Drexler to Igor, everyone, James Chung, everyone had a pass at it. And this the final version was Doug Drexler mixed with Derek Zabrowski, who was another artist we brought in, and he had some cool ideas. So it's very cool. But again, when in earlier versions, we're looking at them like, ooh, it's a little too Cylon Raider like, and it's a little too this, and then what's worse is then once you put the ship out there, then people start throwing these ships at you that you're like, you've never seen before. And you're like, damn, that's close. But I'm like, yeah, I never saw that. But what I found amazing was that people were like, oh, it looks like the Narada. I'm like, what? That doesn't look like the Narada at all.
Yeah, I don't really see that.
People like, they're like, oh, because it's got like spikes and stuff. I'm like, okay, whatever, have fun with that.
I wonder, did you have a kind of a backstory in your head of how they got this ship, or who built it, or anything like that?
I talked about this on one of the other podcasts, and the idea was like, no, it wouldn't have been a Dominion ship, because you're like, if I'm going to go rob a bank and do bad stuff, I'm not going to do it in my own car.
Yeah.
So they would have gotten it from the bad guy ship emporium. It's like, where can you get something that's, the sketchy, ship that will do what you need it to do. And that was the idea. It's like, we don't want to know where it came from, but it's not specifically Dominion. And then there was actually a Gil Hibben. Gil designed the knives that was used in... and there's a knife that he has, and we looked at the knife, and we're like, yeah, that's what it should be. It felt like an insect, but like with pincers and things, and that really helped inform that that vibe. And then Doug really nailed it with the final modeling.
Yeah, he I know he made Shinzon's knife. He also made Kano's knife in Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He made Vadek's knife in Picard as well.
Of course.
Nice.
Oddly, here's the thing, and again, it didn't end up making the translation of things, and I'm like, okay, it is what it is. But if you look at the front of the Shrike, or the bottom of the Shrike, it has this little pod down there. And initially, for me, that was going to be the portal device, because we wanted it to kind of look like it was bolted on there. Like you're putting this device that you took from a secret establishment, and you're going to like put it onto your ship, and then it's going to become a weapon. Well, how do you integrate that into your system? And it's like, well, what if we put it onto the thing, and we bolt it on and it was this bracket, and we spent a lot of time working on the bracket and that whole thing, and that was going to be the device. But then it ends up feeding through the pincers just because it looked cooler. Yeah. And then at some point, when they get rid of that device, they have little bits that go flying off, and I'm like, whatever. But that was my initial thing, because it was like, okay, we want to make it look obvious, like, oh, they stole this weapon. It's like, well, the weapon is the thing on the bottom and this little pod that you attach to it, and they built it into the ship. So, but that was it. There it is. But other people are like, oh, well, that's the what do you call it?
Mission
deflector shield or something like this. Like, well, yeah. So.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for, when you have a ship like this that's very clearly has some like animalistic inspiration to its design, it sort of stirs some visceral feelings. It's got like a insectoid or a lobster like feel to it.
Yeah.
Right? And that stirs up the fight or flight response in people. And so I think that's a really that really helps hit immediately that this is something that you have to worry about, that this is not a friendly ship. This is a bad guy ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, what really hit most is that Terry was so specific with what he wanted with the ship. And, like, for me, it's just such a great thing, because he loves his ship. He had like a whole model built up, and he has it in his office, and
Nice.
he thinks it's the coolest thing in the world. And I'm like, for me, I'm like, okay, you said build the coolest thing in the world, and now you have it on your desk and you love it. For me, I'm like, okay, my job is safe. And I think it's just a cool ship, and I just the wonderful team effort on it, and everyone putting forth their best their best look and everything like that. But again, I think John Eves and Doug Drexler, and just can you imagine like me? I'm like a fanboy, and I'm like sitting there going, like I got both John Eves and Doug Drexler sending me stuff going, and I get to go, yeah, no, Doug, that sucks. And I'm like, oh my god, it's like no, but it's like, but working with those guys and all the deals, and then working with Jason Zimmerman and his team to bring the ship into the world. I mean, it's like it's so cool. And again, I would say after the Stargazer, I would say that this is my second favorite accomplishment in Star Trek. It's like the Shrike is just badass cool.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
really
Yeah.
neat. Yeah. I had a question and my brain ADHD eated it out. So I will switch over to asking Thomas about the process of bringing this guy into game. Did you is this one of the ones where you started with the show model, or did I think we had Tobias model it. Did he start from scratch on it?
No, we actually did get the show model for this one, thankfully.
Nice.
And so Tobias had the show model and some renders, and he built on top of it. He always does great work. He built the model and the material. I want to point out a really cool customization feature that Mauricio added. So Tobias is our external, ship modeling partner, and then internally we usually have either Mauricio Tejerina or I will intake the ship into the game. So Mauricio did the Shrike, and one of the things that he did was he set it up so that players can tint the material any color they want. So, at some point we can go into the ship customization screen and show that off. But I love it when we get the chance to, have these really distinctive designs, and people, we couldn't resist letting people make their Batwing Shrike.
As well, they should, because when we did it, we actually did that exact same lesson of, okay, so we got the design. Should it be? And it's like, and then you go through the whole color palette, and you're like, okay, if it's too coppery, then that's Vulcan. If it's too green, then that's Romulan. It's too rust, that's Klingon, and you're like, well, what color does it? And we literally were like, and had all the different versions of it. And again, I think it landed really well with but it was, we went with the jet black, and it was just like literally Batwing type of.
Yeah.
And then actually, I think we have a couple, and I don't. It came out. There was a couple versions that where it's a little bit more multicolored than the final version. But again, it's one of those ships that deserves a paint job every couple of years.
So unfortunately, there's some kind of bug that I'm running into,
really cool
so we
to see
can't. Oh, that's that delay again. Unfortunately, there's some kind of bug.
You would have to go to like. Okay, I think we might be hitting a bit of a delay now. But the lighting thing, you would need to go to Earth Space Dock to get good lighting, because some of that lighting is actually baked into the Taylor. But it's fine. Just people can experiment, if we don't want to do that for them now.
We'll show it off later. I have to actually go to Konos because I'm playing at the correct faction. But for right now, is there any other fun details on this, Thomas or Dave, that players might not have noticed first off? Oh, yeah,
hard to say. I mean, it's like the exterior again is it was one of those ships I wish we had more time to get into the tech on it and all the engines and all the fun stuff, but we really didn't. but again, it was a fun collaboration with a lot of amazing talented artists, and I think it's cool. So at some point, I mean that's what kills me with Eagle Moss going down is that the idea of like getting a model of all my ships sitting on my desk. Hopefully at some point that happens, but this is definitely be one of those ones that I would love to get.
I would love to get a model of this
I
too.
think it'll happen eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jonathan, awake from your slumber. It's time to talk a little bit about what this ship will actually do in game. So let's bring that UI back up and talk me through the design of this, as many people in chat already noticed, Intel Juggernaut.
Indeed. Let's see. Well, I got to start with the console, the portal device. You knew it. You knew we were going to do it. The question is, how much were we able to do it? And we got some love from programming on this one. So this console can be activated out to 15 kilometers, and it will spawn a portal in front of your ship and a portal in front of the ship you target. And it's a toggle. The longer you leave it on, the longer the cooldown will be, up to 2 minutes. But if you toggle it off relatively quickly, it has a relatively short cooldown. And weapons fire goes through the portal. So it can extend the range of your weapons and gather them. So if you're on a TFO and you use this, as long as the path to the portal and out from the other portal to your target is shorter, your weapons will travel that path, even though their actual range might be like, the actual distance might be longer. Or like, let's say you're within weapons fire range, but the portal provides a shortcut, your weapons will take the portal. And that allows you to sort of aggregate the fire from your TFO. Your squad mates and stuff will all go through the portal and all strike probably the same shield facing of your victim. Right now, yeah, we did get it working with torpedoes, so targetable torpedoes are also smart enough to go through the portal. And of course, ships can travel through the portal. There's a brief lockout just to prevent accidentally like wobbling back and forth, and stationary stuff doesn't move through the portal. So like if the thing doesn't have any speed at all and it's parked near the event horizon, it should stay where it is. This one's been a little squirrelier, so development's still ongoing. We're fine-tuning some things, catching some little gremlins, but yeah, very, very happy with the portal, and it looks amazing. FX nailed it as well. Like, this is just,
yeah,
so good.
It's so exciting. We'll show that off in a second. I'm going to head over to our gala. I don't know. Dave disappeared. I hope he didn't think we were sending him away. I'm assuming it's a connection problem.
No.
But if you're still hearing this somewhere, Dave, thank you so much for coming on. We'd love to have hopefully you jump back in before we're done with this stream tonight. But tell us a little bit about this trait too.
Sure. The trait is Eclectic Collector of Armaments.
Say it 10 times fast.
Very much after Vadic's tendency to Eclectic Collector of Armaments, Eclectic Collector of Armaments, and we'd be here a little while, but it is the more different kinds of weapons you use regularly, the more bonus you accumulate. So it's just rewarding you for having like a mixed armament layout. And it includes innate ship weapons, like the Juggernaut array that this thing has, or other Juggernaut arrays, or other ships that have it. And in addition to providing bonus damage, it provides an increased recharge rate to those innate ship weapons.
So it's encouraging you to put multiple weapons
also,
on
this
ship.
Juggernaut Ray is a... Yeah! It's a Shrike! The thing about the real Shrike is that it has a spiky bush, which I'm sure inspired the ship's look. It's not at all that bad guy ships have spikes, but yeah, the bird likes to... It's a spicy bird. It's a very violent bird. And it likes to have a little ardor of collection. So it's... The synergy with Vadic is amazing. I love Vadic as a villain. She is so great.
Yes.
Up there with the, like, hellfire, kind of like... Just across the plate, honest, knows what she wants to be villain. I have always had a soft spot for those. She has a little bit more of a background, but... Yeah. And the array itself targets an enemy vessel and sends a shockwave out from it, and it damages foes that are further away from the center. So it's not quite as simple as gravity welling everything and mashing the button, though it does it performs pretty well in that role. But this is like it's a great combination with delayed overload cascade if you're using that to put like a punctuation mark on the end of a gravity well, or using it like right before a gravity well or in conjunction with a gravity well while the ships are like pulling in. There's like a sweet spot where if you mash both buttons at the same time, it lines up pretty good.
Nice. And oh man, I can't. Oh, so chat is asking about the interaction between the trait and there was something. Oh man, it went away.
Oh, also the trait has an exception for its own portal device. Even though the portal doesn't damage things, using the portal does give you
Got
the
it.
trait.
Oh, do you know if the
I'm
portal
probably
does
just
hanger
gonna end up
pets?
tweaking the wording on the trait. What's up?
Do you know if the portal does
Does the
hanger
portal?
pets?
Yeah, anything that moves in space, that's targetable. So like, if there's an anomaly that shouldn't go through, but hanger pets will, targetable torps will, and because it puts the portal in front of your foe, fast-moving foes will tend to just like come through the portal to you as well.
Nice. All right, so seating on this ship, we've got a Lieutenant Commander Universal, an Ensign Universal, a Commander Tactical Intelligence, a Lieutenant Commander Engineering Miracle Worker, and a Lieutenant Science. And now, let's show off.
Mines should go through the portal, but they're not smart enough to. Creeping mines don't know about the portal, so they'll go through the portal if it's like in front of them, but they won't head towards the portal the way targetable torps do.
Yeah. So, quick note in advance, there's some kind of bug that's been happening to me today where when I map move like I just did, I will spawn in and explode or die if I'm on the ground. So just, that's going to happen. Be ready for that.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Sonic Llama says, this ship is just Portal 3, Valve is angry, and I like it. The ship is an Infinity promo ship, and we'll be releasing this week in the 2 days.
And if anybody was craving, like, it's, I'm just speaking as a gamer here, but the script for Portal 3 got leaked a long time ago. So if you're wondering how the story was intended to end, that's floating around out there somewhere.
I'm going to target this very far away ship and fire off this
moving
dope
stuff.
portal.
And how the portal determines like traversal via targetability. So anything that moves but isn't targetable will not go through the portal. So like anomalies and stuff you can't click on. If you can't click on it, it's probably not going through the portal.
So now we're firing our cannons through the portal, and you can see them coming out the other side.
Yeah, I love that little shimmer that goes over your ship. It's so cool.
It is. It's really cool.
The artist did that. I don't know how they did it, but
folks had asked if
Chris
this thing...
Nard did the effects for this guy.
That was the lance going off, but it took a left turn through the portal to get there. That's great.
And it shouldn't break the pre-TFO cook because of that whole nothing. If it doesn't move, it won't go through the portal rule.
Got it. But just in case.
Shouldn't.
We should probably test that.
And yeah, the portal does work both ways. Enemies can and will shoot back through it.
Yeah. So it's a risk you have to take by deploying your super awesome portal tech. And this ship does have a cloak. Looks like tractor beams can go through there too. So yeah, tactically it seems like you might not want to put these
that one
so
looks
much
like
up
it's
to
just
each other.
going right through, but it's hard to... Yeah, I was debating that. I feel like more harm than good comes from activating it in close proximity, but like having the button gray out if you're close to your foe is going to feel odd if you don't know the like weird vagaries of the rules. You'll be like, well, why is this becoming active and inactive? There's a lot of strange questions to answer about this thing, working on it, and that might be one where we want a minimum range, but at the same time, if someone has like, is using it to compensate for a ship's slow turning radius, for example, or wants to use it to aggregate fire, well, then using it in close range might be appropriate. So that's something that will be responsive to feedback as well. If it turns out that like players would just find a simple tweak or two, make it a lot easier to work with, I'd definitely be open to tweaking it.
Someone asked what the difference is between the
Yeah,
Maelstrom
it's definitely
torpedo
got
on
to
the
be
ship.
close to the most complex console.
Yeah. This was a technical juggernaut to do for
Oh,
our
the
programmers.
Maelstroms?
Oh yeah, somebody was asking if the Maelstrom, what the difference is between the Maelstrom on this ship and the one you can unlock for the event, and the answer is nothing. This is the torpedo you can unlock from the event. Ah ha ha. So there's that. You want to talk
Oh,
a
you
little
mean
bit
the
about
one
the
you
new
put on
Maelstrom?
this ship, not the
Yes,
one
the one I
I
put
put
on this ship.
on the Akira.
Yeah. Yeah, the new Maelstrom torpedo
Oh,
from
wow,
the
that
event is
delay's
now on
getting
the ship.
crazy.
I know. It's annoying. Test something. So
The
go ahead.
event Maelstrom is the event Maelstrom is a little bit on the slimmer side, so it doesn't take as long to recharge and it doesn't do as much damage as the original Quantum Maelstrom, but it provides a rollover buff when it destroys things. So if you blow ships up with it, they'll have like a little pickup on floating in space that you or your allies can collect for a temporary boost, and the boost stacks and provides like kind of random bonuses.
Okay, this is something I was curious about, and I've just confirmed it. You can use the portal to flank ships that you are not facing the flanking side of, which is very exciting for some of those of us with pilot ships or other things that have flanking. Todd Cryer wants to know if this will crash the map if more than one player is using it. I believe we've tested for that, and the answer is no, but.
Yeah, it shouldn't. So engineering built the craziness that lets the weapons go through. I built the stuff that lets ships and targetable torpedoes go through, but it's all a little bit new. So I fully expect to uncover gremlins with this one. We've been beating it up pretty hard. QA's been busting on it. It's been stable for the last like week or so. So hopefully, but once it makes contact with the player base, y'all think of stuff we never did. So we'll see.
And busting
But
makes them
it's
feel
been
good.
so much fun to play with.
Gadget JR Gaming. I
wish I could
remember
give
that I said I'd
options.
ask
This
your
is the first
question, but I
console
don't
where I
remember what the
really-
question was. So please retype it. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, this is a console where I wish I could put options on it, where like I could let you set a minimum range or let you control whether or not there's like a lockout or your ship can just like boop 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 go back and forth through it. That's not something we can do, unfortunately.
Yeah, this delay is killing me, Master Dude. I am gonna get a council of people who know how this software works together after this stream and be like, what the hell? How do I fix this? Otherwise, we have to go back to Discord, which is fine, but I liked this one.
And your patience is certainly appreciated.
Yes. Okay, so Gadget JR Gaming wants to know, Thomas, will there ever be kit bash ships, like full-on kit bash ships, like you pick parts and you can slam them together? I know the answer is no, but I wanted you to be on to explain more of why the answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is no, because the way we build ships, ships are built around something called a skeleton, and so instead of a skull and a collarbone and a femur or a tibula or whatever, ship skeletons are made up of bones called hull and saucer and nacelle and left pylon and right pylon, and uh, when we add parts to ships, we're adding them specifically to that particular skeleton. It's not that any ship can use any part. We actually have to set it up to where the Galaxy skeleton, for example, it can use the Andromeda saucer, it can use the Venture saucer, it can use the Galaxy saucer, etc., etc., etc. In fact, there are some cases where you would think that like there would be two ships that share the same skeleton, like the Galaxy Dreadnought and the Galaxy itself. Like you can't mix parts with them because the Galaxy Dreadnought has an extra engine, and so that means it needs a separate skeleton from the regular Galaxy because it needs extra effects nodes, it needs an extra customization point, etc., etc. So ultimately, if you want to add pieces to a skeleton, that's all manual. It all has to be done on a per part per skeleton basis. So I mean, we could, like if we wanted to add part X, Y, or Z to a family, we could do that, but it would be intentional. It's not just like a flip, like add Miranda parts to every ship in the game. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why the pack-led ship would be such a monumental task, unfortunately. And there's also artistic reasons for it too. I know you care deeply about making sure our universe looks consistent and looks like Star Trek, and I don't think we can do that if people are flying around with one side of their ship has a bird of prey wing and another side has a Enterprise E nacelle and the saucer is from a D'Deridex, etc., etc.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that like I mean, one of my pet peeves is the some of the kit bashes they used in DS9 especially. They took a bunch of AMT model kits that were all out of scale and just glued them together. And so you had a ship with an Excelsior saucer using Constitution style nacelles that were way out of scale. And that's the kind of thing that I would want to avoid in kit bashing in STO if we can, where if you have a Constitution nacelles, they should be the same scale as the real Constitution nacelles, but that would look really small and weird if you put that on an Excelsior, for example.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of considerations on do these parts mix, and that's also the reason that we don't let people customize the Discovery or Kelvin Constitution with the Prime Constitution because the scales are wildly different, and that's not my fault. I wish that weren't the case, but we didn't make those decisions, and we sort of have to live with the hand we're dealt in that case.
I want a clump chip.
I know, me too. Clump ship would just have
Yeah,
to,
I
we
mean,
just have to make it.
we could do a clump ship. It would yeah, it would just be a lot of work. But it's not it's not off the table. But it would just we would just have to dedicate extra time to doing it because not only the model is one thing, but then trying to like shoehorn all those different materials on the same ship, it actually kind of would sort of preclude customization. If you had a clump ship, you couldn't customize it in certain ways that people are used to. But anyway, yeah, here we are in the ship tailor, and you can see how you can totally like color it and do cool things. I'm really pleased with how the customization for the Shrike came out.
Oh, that looks good. That looks so good.
I had to go Tiger Stripes next, and that also looks very good. Drunken Borg, it's the regular bridge.
It's super cool.
Yeah. Let's see.
And I'm seeing more than enough comments that are convincing me, yeah, I probably should just lock out the portal during the TFO prep phase. No good will come of that.
Yeah.
Nothing good.
Tobiak says, and so just this is a.
Can you?
Go ahead. What was your request?
Just can you change the red to yellow? I want to see a Vorlon.
Yeah. Oh, so a fun story about this. One thing I've wanted to do in STO for a long time is the shadow laser. I love me Babylon 5. I'm in the middle of a rewatch right now. And I built this ship looks a bit like a shadow vessel. You could get this to look a little like a shadow vessel if you wanted. It's got that like spiderweb covered in soot vibe. And I managed to get a sweeping beam working. But the tech wasn't right. Like it was too much to take on with the portal at the same time. And obviously, between the two, if we can get portal, we're gonna do portal. Mm-hmm. So I've got like part of a sweeping beam like sitting in my pocket, just waiting for a chance.
So
awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to get that out of the game.
Here's your Barbie Dream Shrike.
Nice.
No, Confederation of Planets. It's not to do with the Shrike that I'm getting this weird bug that's killing me when I map move. It's to do with something to do with map moving and this build. I'm going to report it to QA later, but it shouldn't affect you guys because you guys don't map move the way I do. And when I
Uh,
warp, it doesn't
they know
happen.
about it. It's a known issue.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
was seeing people. Yeah, I was seeing people talk about it today.
Yeah. So, Thomas, can you go? This is a question somebody asked. Can you go into a little more detail on why you can't, quote unquote, just scale up the parts of something like a Connie nacelle? What looks bad about that?
It's my mania. It's my mania and my authority as the art director to just say no, we're not going to do that. I well, I here I mean like it comes from the the idea. Okay, you know if you create a jet engine, for example, right, and then you're like, oh, we need a bigger jet engine. Even if those two jet engines are like created by the same manufacturer, if you scale it up, like there are going to be things about it that are different. I wouldn't have a problem, for example, making a larger nacelle that sort of looked like a Constitution nacelle, but like there were little details about it here and there that made it a different model. Um,
Is it like
but
Greeblies and
but in
stuff?
terms of just like purely, yeah, like different grade. So for example, like I was at the Palm Springs Air Museum this weekend, which is a really cool place. They have an F-117 Nighthawk there, which I think is
Ooh.
the first time I've ever seen one of
Yeah,
those
the
in a
wobbly
museum.
goblin.
Yeah. But anyway, they have a couple B-17s there too. And so on the B-17, it's a radial piston engine. I think there are seven pistons, but like if you take that propeller engine, right, and then you're like, oh, we want a bigger engine or a smaller engine, then one of the things that might change is the number of pistons. And so you can sort of tell from the front looking how many pistons a radial engine like that has. And by that logic, if you took um uh the Constitution warp nacelle, like the motion picture era Constitution warp nacelle, and you made it bigger, then what about it could you change to signify that like the pieces all have a function, and when you make those pieces bigger, their form needs to change to indicate that this is like a part that is scaled differently. Um, this is sort of related to the Executor in Star Wars. It's a great it's one of my favorite examples of scale on starships because you see a Star Destroyer, you know how big a Star Destroyer is, you know it's massive, right? And then the first time you see Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, the Executor in Empire Strikes Back, you see the bridge of that ship and you see how tiny it is, and then you notice that it has all exactly the same parts that the regular Star Destroyer bridge has, and that is a huge visual clue to you, like how much bigger this ship is compared to a normal Star Destroyer. Um, and so those kinds of clues I think are important to keep things consistent. So that if we make if we make a ship that uses the Connie engines, but the rest of it is a lot bigger or smaller, then those scale clues start breaking down if we don't keep things if the scale doesn't match the form of what you're looking at. We actually had to do this with the uh, the TMP Akira. I forget um, the
The
name
Shenzhou?
isn't coming to my head, but the legendary no, not the Shenzhou, the legendary Akira. Um, but that we actually I had Mo who built that. I had him make some subtle differences to the warp nacelle so that people knew it wasn't just the Connie nacelle scaled up, right? Like I think we added a third row of warp grills and then added some other details to it. But again, it's the same manufacturer, but it's a different model because it's much bigger. And that's just important to me as a um, you know I, as an artist. I believe that some things should look cool. I believe in the rule of cool, but I also believe that things look a lot cooler if you build some function into it, and you can infer things about it just by looking at it. And so scale is an important tool to do that. And so honoring the scale of these things is another really powerful tool you can do. A great example of this that I think works really well is the Atlas, our original series Dreadnought. Hector Ortiz designed that, and it's a much bigger ship than a regular original series Constitution, and so the nacelles are actually like two TOS nacelles glued together, but they also have some extra pieces and stuff. So it still has the same flavor, but it's very clearly its own new thing, and it tells you like, oh, this is different, this is bigger, this is better, et cetera, et cetera.
Jonathan, I got you your shadow ship right here.
Yeah.
Um,
That thing just looks great with every material. I love the like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't have great words for it, but the sort of contouring of the surface, the way that the top isn't like unbroken and smooth with a little greeble, but it has like kind of abandonedness to it.
Yeah. I only have
We
one
got the
thing to
dazzle
say.
camouflage going.
I was gonna say I only have one thing to say to this this alliance shield on this, and that's Tiger Zord. Guys who are requesting things in chat, you may have seen that my inventory is full. This is actually a pull of my live character, and I don't have all the vanity shields on my live character because it's my live character and I can't just grant them to me. I should have done this on Transporter instead of Redshirt, but this is where we are. I've only got certain things I can put up. Can I show the new Maelstrom tooltip again? Yes. There you guys go. Look upon it. I was very tempted to walk over
The
to my left.
tooltip
10
doesn't
feet and
have the main.
Sorry, and get the power morpher for that joke, but I think
It does have it. Okay. You could have done it during the delay. Got back in the time loop.
I know. Hey, did anybody watch Bodies? This is reminding me a lot of that. It's a great show, by the way. I just finished it this morning. What's its turn rate like?
No, I haven't watched that yet.
It's fabulous. You were the one, Thomas, he said on knowing the delay existed, that recommended me that time travel documentary on Amazon, right?
Yeah, the little indie movie that's like super low budget, but
yeah.
Yeah.
If you like that, you'll love Bodies.
Oh, okay, cool, right on.
Yeah,
I forget, was that just called The History of Time Travel or something?
I think so.
Yeah, there's a comment in chat that made me remember it. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of high-end sports cars. How the hood of high-end sports cars have those like kind of nodules and crudules or whatever, right? Like they got the kind of pointless speed humps, and like it just looks good. They do it for a reason.
Pointless speed humps is the name of my Rush cover band.
Hector Ortiz, STO's, one of our concept artists. He uses he takes a lot of inspiration from sports cars in a lot of the STO ships that he's designed, because there's just it's just a very it's a very good mix of like organic and industrial design coming through to indicate power and speed, and it's a language there that you can get a lot out of.
And the speeds were all kept equal by speed bumps.
Jonathan, what default weapons does this come with?
Polaron, if memory serves.
Polaron. I think these are one of the defaults. Yep.
And a medley, along with a torp or two. Yeah. Well, it'll use your ship layout when you equip a new ship, so it probably ported over whatever guns you had on your other ship.
I think so, yeah. All right. Ooh, Emperors looks good on this baby. This is not a surprise. Emperors looks good on everything, but ooh, damn.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so any other final thoughts, comments, questions that you two have that you want to throw out into the world?
Well, yeah. I've slowly accumulated a Katamari ball of questions that I intend to answer that I will hopefully remember most of.
Do it.
So I could lightning around that quick. Let's see. It uses Polarons that we dug around in our history to find ones that like match the show visuals. So we're using those on the ship. I want to say they're Lethian, because Vatic was a collector of weapons. So it's perfectly reasonable for her to have had access to like, kind of an eclectic collection. But they're not new for the ship. There was a question about will it be disabled during TFO prep, the portal. Yeah, I'm basically convinced that I want to do that. Questions about when certain things will be happening. Everything, all of my timelines are on hold as as Jakar put it, enter a time of transition. I don't really know what the future will hold for my various schemes, and things that I had like in flight under the hood. All that
Just
stuff
because
is
we're
question marks right now.
just because we're looking at the schedule for the new year and planning some things around. Sorry, Jonathan, to cut you off. The way you said that sounded a little more dire than it actually is. So I wanted to make
Okay.
sure people knew. It's just because we're diving into schedule stuff, like Jarrod was talking about.
Let's see. Oh, I know I'm forgetting some questions already. There was so many. Just if I missed your question, go ahead and re-ask. I
Sure,
apologize. I'm sure Mike will wrangle them.
I can wrangle, absolutely. Let's see. Someone in chat is saying we spelled trifluoride wrong. Apparently it's UO, not OU.
Well, I confess I did not build the trifluoride, but I will definitely go fix that. And I recognize the chemical from that blog of things I won't work with that I quite like. I love those crazy, nasty, like foof and so on.
Yeah.
I also think it was like, yeah, never mind.
No, go ahead.
No, I stopped not because of anyone else speaking, but because I realized that what I was about to say would be wrong. So I was like, oh, well, that's just a mistake. I'm going to not say that.
Tabby, get out of here. Tabby, I'm watching you. That's your older brother's food. Get out of here. Okay. I have to get up,
Pet
apparently.
that cat.
There was a question that I wanted to ask, and I can throw that way. Thomas, there was a question for you about the Hegta bird of prey. Is there, and of course, if there was any way to put it on the Burrell skeleton so that people could customize those two together.
No plans to do that. I really, it's a question of scale. So if it's a similar scale, then I guess theoretically we could, but it's not something we're considering right now.
Yeah, makes sense.
I saw some traits about or some questions about the traits rather. It does work with mixed armament synergy. It works with pretty much anything. All it cares about is did you deal damage. Damage will refresh the stacks from its own category, but not from other categories.
Nice. All right. Casual SAB wants to know, did new stacks of the trait refresh time on all existing stacks?
Yeah, that was the one I...
Oh, that's what you just answered? Sorry, I was dealing with a cat.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
No one can blame you for that. And no plans to add sets to other quad cannons. The newer quad cannons just kind of exist on their own and aren't really part of existing sets.
Have you created a set that contains all sets?
I don't know enough about math to have a funny answer to that, but I know enough to know that there's probably one lurking in there somewhere in the set of all possible answers.
Yeah. Oh, good job. Good job. Thomas, this is a question for you. Nataros wants to know if we've have any updates on our efforts to make it so that you can disable other players' effects.
We have we've looked at that. We've done a little work internally on it. I think the big question is how much control can we give people, and how it's funny, as an artist, I assume that everything in the game knows about everything else. But sometimes that's not the case. Like when the system executes a power, it doesn't necessarily, other parts of the game don't necessarily know where that power came from. And so um, there there's some trouble like detecting provenance on like did I cast this power? Did my bridge off or did my ally cast this power? Did an NPC cast this power? And like where in that chain do you prevent the effects from going off? There's been, we have our like how do we want it to behave ideally, and then we have like what's actually possible based on what the system knows about the series of events, the timeline that happens. And then there's also the fact that there are things that the server keeps track of, which are different than things that the client keeps track of, and like who fires a power is something the server keeps track of, but the effects are played by the client, and like yeah, there's a lot of, and I know that I'm butchering all of that, but like ultimately, like anything in game development, it's a lot harder than you think it is. To
Yeah.
to present a solution that behaves the way you would expect it to and gives people the flexibility and the options that make it a useful solution, right? Because we can like, we could do a thing where it's like, oh yeah, just turn off everybody's effects, or like, or turn off all effects from a certain type of um, of actor or whatever. But like that that's not really what people want. And so we have to be really careful. And this really adheres to the maxim of like, if you're playing a game and you do something and it seems seamless and like and exactly what you expect to happen happens, that probably took months of work, and it just feels
Mm-hmm.
effortless because UX people and engineers and designers all work together to um, fit a bunch of square pegs in the round holes, because these video games are very complex machines, and things interact in ways that you expect, and they don't interact in ways you expect, and it just sort of takes a while. So it is something that we certainly heard the feedback on, and we actually have invested some time into, but we don't have a solution yet that we're ready to roll out, or that we think really solves the problem the way we want it to.
All right. Well, we've been going for a while, and I have to go and get some stuff done, and I'm sure these folks do too. But thank you all very much for joining in. We're going to raid Klingon Pop Warrior because I like her channel. And we will see you all next time. Bye bye, folks. Bye
Awesome.
bye. Bye bye.
Bye,
Bye
everybody.
bye.
Thanks for having us on, Mike.
Bye.
Shalon
Thanks for
crew.
coming on.